response you say to them. You were one of the instrumental people in organizing the protests last month for the SEC. Didn't quite have the crowds we were hoping for, but a few, what, 80, 90 diehards were able to come.
We figured somewhere between 75 and 85. Some people were coming and going in and out, but at one point we had 76 for sure.
Yeah,
but we're predicting at least 80 plus.
Okay. And it's kind of short notice. It's January. It's cold. And you got some airtime with Charles Payne, and Charles, he seems to be, behind the apes. But when it comes time for him to do segments, they're really short and they never quite explain what's going on.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, Houston, here's the thing about that. Of course, I had the CEO, Jeremy Farmer, was out there, came up to me, tried to tell me what I needed to say. I had people texting me, messaging me, make sure you cover this, make sure you cover that. And I got everybody telling me what to say. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to say what comes to my mind, because actually, I don't even know what his questions are. No one prepped me, and I was standing there. I have back pain, so I'm standing there. They told us we were going to go live soon. It turned out to be 45 minutes. The crowd behind me stood there quiet, just waiting. I walked away for a little bit. I actually walked over to the train station and went and peed, came back, tried to stretch my back. And then they finally said we could stand there. And I had an earpiece in.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to tell people, try staring at a camera in the cold with an earpiece in your ear. And then you're trying to hear him, which I was listening. And then he kind of asks questions while answering questions too. And he tries to direct you. And then there's a time delay. And if you notice towards the end, I said, "What's that, Charles?" And he was trying to cut me off because I was trying to get a point across that I needed. And it was so short, I'm like, there was a few things I wanted to say, but again, the whole idea behind it was just to get airtime. I mean, I could have just said the sky is purple, my donkey's dick is blue. Like, it didn't matter. The fact was I wanted, and I made it. That was a point. Well, I asked them, and I told them, I want people to understand this. I told them that I would not do the interview if my people couldn't be in it. Yeah. And so and it's funny how it turned out. They said my bodyguards, but Dave Stiles was in it. He's one of the organizers. So he was standing next to me. George Donahue George, everybody knows, he helped support me along the way. He was a voice. So I said, I want you guys standing with me. And then Alex and the rest of them. Then I said, well, let's get the whole people. So I wasn't going to do it if they didn't allow what we did.
Yeah.
I just wanted the world to see all of those people.
Yep.
And it didn't matter what I said, but unfortunately people are like, well, you didn't say this, you didn't know what you're talking about.
Well,
I'm like, guys,
a few weeks prior, he had John Berta on for 2 minutes. And, Berta, I'll be honest, love the guy. He really has a hard time getting the point across succinctly. And so in the 2 minutes, he's spooling up to getting to the point. And then it's well, the 2 minutes are up. See you later. Bye, John. Poof. I think what Charles needs to do for some of these pieces is get an actual interview done, and then they can just chop it up and present something that's coherent, has a storyline to it, so that his viewers at home who may not be part of this whole thing go, oh, that's what's happening. Because right now it just seems like it's not hitting home. If I were somebody who is not related to this at all, it happened across his show, I would have no idea what's going on. I'd be like, what are these hippies doing protesting something? Why they keep talking about stocks I don't care about? Why, who is this John Berta guy and why does he matter? And he didn't really say anything in those 2 minutes he had. And so I wish that the folks in that mainstream happen to navigate a little more towards helping us generate that coherent message. Because a lot of us are amateurs. That's not, we're learning as we go along, but they have national audiences and they should know how to produce these things. And we're just not quite seeing it yet.
It was live too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't pre-recorded. And so I knew that. And I'm like, I've been on other shows. I was on The War Room with Steve Bannon 5 times. I did the Canadian documentary. I've done commercials years ago when I was running companies on the West Coast. I've been on the radio. I've done 15-minute interviews on TV. That stuff doesn't scare me. I wasn't afraid to be up there. I mean, hell, I wouldn't even look into the dude. I'm talking to something in my ear.
Yeah.
But it's live, and I'm like, the last thing I'm gonna do is act like a fool. The last thing I'm gonna do is go, oh man, we got naked shorting going on and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We're like, we'll make sure you mention about this. And why do that, man? We're on national TV. We're live in that moment.
Yeah.
And I want more. What I want the media to trust, because that took a lot of trust. What people don't understand is Fox News and Payne took a big risk by going live with us standing there. I mean, we coached everybody. We told everybody, you better be quiet because they will shut this down in a heartbeat.
And they're like, "Boba booey," and then
yeah, I mean, but you saw how disciplined we were.
Yeah.
You saw how that was because of my leadership team that was out there. That's because these people were out there to do that. And that's what people fail to see is behind the scenes what we created. And for me, I'm like, I'm going to be very careful what I say because most of these people aren't going to understand what I'm saying. So if I do say something crazy, like you were just saying, they're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And hell, let's be honest, man. How many people are watching Fox Payne Business at, what was it, 2 p.m. on a Friday?
Yeah.
Like, who's watching that?
Probably about the same number of people like I'm watching right now.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's just the point. Yeah. It's the point that we appeared on it. We get to record it. And now it's the after effects. But people don't understand marketing. That's actually my profession, is sales and marketing.
Yeah. So do you have plans, perhaps when the weather gets warmer, to do something similar again?
So I'm trapped. I can't go anywhere for a little while. I told everybody, me personally can't go.
Yeah.
We were working. There's a group of people talking about trying to do Miami, and Donahue George was going to try to step up and lead that because I told him I can't be there and I can't lead it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of in limbo right now. We found out they don't actually have a permit, so we haven't got to promoting that yet.
Yeah.
Jeremy Frommer from CEO Block just sent out an email where he's going to do another town hall meeting that's coming up here soon, and he wants to discuss in there. He's been working on a permit for New York in March. He was talking March 24th.
Okay.
So if he can get that put together, there may be another one there. I mean, that's our goal and our hopes, but it sounds like outside forces are coming in. Like I said, the CEO Block, Jeremy Frommer, is really stepping up. And then, of course, Roger Hamilton, they're kind of starting to run with it. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of starting to get pushed off to the side. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'd love, like, we don't have an SEC office out here in Seattle. The closest is San Francisco, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to make it to San Francisco to like go and protest.
Yeah, it's probably San Francisco versus Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Imagine,
and I don't know why we don't have an office in Seattle. We've got like 10 Fortune 500 companies here, probably 10 Fortune 50 companies at that. But
it's a big hub.
We got Boeing, Amazon, Microsoft, PACCAR. Who else is here? Caterpillar? Is that who else is here? I don't know. There's a bunch of them. But I don't know. We're a huge port city. Why don't we have SEC? So
no, Salt Lake City has one. Denver has one.
Yeah.
For credit. Fort Worth has one.
Yeah. Like Dallas Fort Worth is a big metro area. I get it. They got oil trading. The all sorts of stuff goes on there. But Salt Lake City has Adobe, and that's about it.
Well, they got one in Philly. I mean, that surprised me.
Yeah.
I mean,
so, oh well. So it's really easy to get people on the internet to like talk, post videos, do stuff like that. It's really difficult to get them to show up in person. It's what it feels like. And it costs money to unless you happen to live in DC. It's going to cost you quite a bit to like get out there to do that protest. And it's hard. I mean, I totally get that it's hard to like get like the million people that we'd love to have going marching and like shaking trash cans or whatever. So like what do you think the next step for sort of the grassroots of this should be?
Well, as far as financials is concerned, like for me, I spent close to $1,500. I took the vacation time, so I missed out on money.
Yeah.
Two, I traveled there, the hotel. Now, people helped me. Don't get me wrong. People helped me pay for it. But you guys need to realize 85 people, up to 85 people probably spent, and if they came as a couple, they spent more. And there was a lot of couples there. Yep. They spent anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a piece. You multiply that times two. I mean, that's $2,000. That's what, 160,000. My math's horrible.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money that 85 people decided to use of their own money to travel. And not to mention the parts and pieces, things, signs, all the stuff they put into it. So it was extremely difficult, Houston. I mean, if you saw, I went through hell with the AMC community for like 4 months. because I started talking about it in August of 2022.
Yeah.
I brought it up in spring of 2022 and got knocked down by all the OG apes.
Yeah.
And then I said, screw it, I'm going hard because I got other people telling me they want this to happen. And so it is extremely hard to get people to accept it. They were against it. They thought we'd be infiltrated by FBI. They thought that outside forces would make us look bad. I mean, everything you can think of, January 6th, they were calling me the EPs.
Yeah.
I mean, I took a beating doing it. But when those people showed up, man, and what they spent in the time and energy just to come to Washington was huge. And so my idea, what I'd like to see happen is rotation of places.
Yeah.
So like I said, we're talking Miami. So what we can do is you can get more of the people that are already local.
Exactly.
And then we can create, and now people aren't spending as much money. They're coming out for the day. Maybe they just take a day off. And then, even if we have, I'm going to tell you 50 to 80 people is actually a good number.
Yeah.
Having, 5,000, that's when bad shit happens. I'm sorry. When you start getting into the thousands beyond thousands. Now, granted, I hope we don't get to that point to where everybody gets so pissed off because their trades keep going wrong.
Yeah.
And then eventually we do get to the point where everybody's just flooding Washington, D.C. like they've done other things.
Yeah.
But yes, ideally, I would love to see an event going on with, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 people showing up out there, making some waves, getting put in the paper, getting put on TV. And right now, in my opinion, we did it once. And I think they were just like, it happened, it's over, move on.
Yeah.
And nobody really talked about it. And we'll see if another one happens, because they want to keep us quiet.
Yeah. All right, incoming.
I asked you. Okay. I had asked you to stay out. I mean, use the paper. Okay. Fries, hamburgers,
kiddos.
all my videos too. It's inevitable. Sorry,
Yep.
guys. This is what happens.
Yep.
I told you the food. Hamburgers and you name it. Hot dogs. But yeah, so that it would be awesome, man. And then people are like, oh, it's SEC, they're closed, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's symbolic. You guys don't understand. I don't really care about the people in the building. It doesn't matter. It's symbolic of standing out there. Just like going to Washington, D.C. when people gather in certain areas. That's just symbolic. Yeah. You're just putting on you want people to see you. And what better place versus, well, FINRA will be nice. That's what we're talking about for the MMTLP community. Yeah. And then, of course, Department of Justice, I think being able to get in front of them. And then SEC buildings, because they have the control to a degree. Yeah. Of course, we see that you don't. But that's kind of how I see and ideally, hopefully see it lay out. And then, of course, I would love nothing more to get some Congress involved, hopefully get a couple senators, somebody on board with us, more CEOs on board. That would be fantastic. Get them on board and, start to show up like that. And, that'll bring more people out. And maybe even doing some electronic protesting, I mean, if we can get people all at once, mass calling the SEC corporate offices all on the same day while we're out gathered somewhere. We got everybody across America